you're watching Cooking with Diane. I'm Diane, and today I want to talk about how to cut a cauliflower. So here's the cauliflower. I just got it from the grocery store. It's wrapped in plastic, so the first thing I need to do is take off the plastic. And when you shop for your cauliflower, you do want to make sure that you're looking at the top and making sure there's no mold growing along the little florets here, because sometimes there can be brown discoloration. And you can always cut those off if they are there, but it's best to buy a fresh cauliflower that has no discoloration. Now at this point, what I see a lot of people do is they start struggling to take the leaves off. I actually don't do anything with the cauliflower until I've cut it in half. So I'm going to cut the whole thing in half, right through the core, so that you can see two halves from the inside. Now I can give the cauliflower a rinse, and not only will I be washing the outside, but I'll be washing all of these little branches on the inside, and then I'll show you how to take out the core. So I've rinsed my cauliflower, so it's a little wet now. So to take the core out of the cauliflower, instead of just trying to peel off the leaves with my hands, I'm going to use my knife. And do you see how there's a whole stem that you can see once you're inside the cauliflower? We're going to cut out that stem with a V cut so that I can take out the whole core in one go. And that should get all of the leaves with it too. If there are still some leaves hanging on after that, they'll be a lot easier to pull off now. So just make sure you get any green leaves off your cauliflower. And this little white bit, the piece that looked like a stem inside the cauliflower, you can actually trim that down and eat that too. But most of it is going to be those tough green leaves that you don't want to eat. This is pretty much the only edible bit. So now I just want to work with one piece of cauliflower at a time. So I'm going to get the other pieces off my board so they're not cluttering it up while I'm trying to work. So I'm just going to use this little hunk of cauliflower at first, and I'm going to show you how to cut it into florets. And I'm noticing I have a little bit of brown discoloration on this part of the cauliflower, so I'm just going to cut that off. The rest of it is perfectly good to use. So what you want to think about when you're cutting your cauliflower into florets is that we want them all to be about the same size, and we want them to be bite size. Imagine being able to pop something in your mouth all at once, and it's not too big for you to be able to chew it, and it's not so small that it's unsatisfying. And the best way to attack it is actually from the inside, where you can see all of the little different branches. So if you go from the inside, you can kind of cut off one branch at a time of little florets. So start that way, and you might notice that some of your florets end up larger than others. So I got this really big one, and I got this one that's pretty much just about perfect. With the really big one, you can just cut it in half, but if you cut it in half from the stem end and just gently make an incision and then pull it apart with your hands, it'll make more natural looking florets and won't just look like you cut it in half. And the stem part that I cut all the florets off of, I can eat that too. I'm just going to cut that down into bite-sized pieces. You should end up with florets that are all about the same size. They might not be exactly the same shape, but they should all look natural and like little mini cauliflowers. Now with this last piece, I want to show you how to do cauliflower steaks. When I do cauliflower steaks, I usually do it with the whole cauliflower, and you can actually leave the core in to make cauliflower steaks. The core is what will hold the whole thing together. But you can see I still have some bit of the center of the cauliflower that'll hold it together. So for this, I'm going to cut from the top, and I want pretty thick steaks. I want the cauliflower to hold together and not to kind of crumble apart. And so I need my slices to be at least an inch thick for that to happen. You don't want them so thick that they're never going to cook through, so usually an inch is a good size. So you carefully want to cut the whole thing so that it's an even inch thickness. So you see I get one whole piece and it's not falling apart. This is one cauliflower steak. The rest of them might be a little bit difficult because now I've lost that core. So I can still cut these into inch slices, but they might start to fall apart a little bit. Yeah, so you can see this one fell apart, but if I were grilling it, I could still kind of assemble it back into one steak. Usually even on a large cauliflower, you're only going to get 2 to 3 really good steaks like this one, because those are going to come from the center of the cauliflower where the core is intact. And with all these little cauliflower crumbs that have gotten all over my board, I don't actually have to throw these out. As long as there's no dirt in there, I can keep them and put them together with my cauliflower florets. If I'm roasting it, these little bits will kind of cook faster and turn into crispy little bits in my roasted cauliflower. So it's kind of like a built-in garnish. So that's it for how to cut cauliflower. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.